One of my favorite ways to catch a bass is on light tackle, deep in very clear water. We're going to do that on this week's episode and show you a little bit about how you can go do it yourself. And we're at one of my favorite bass fishing lakes in the entire country. Welcome to the Ozark Mountains, everybody. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
There truly is not much better than morning in the mountains at one of my favorite bass lakes. Right over my left shoulder, I'd like to welcome you into Bull Shoals Lake. It's located right on the northern Arkansas, southern Missouri border. Now we're going to take the Nitro Z20 out today, do a little bass fishing on Bull Shoals, but really this lake's got all kinds of fish in it. It's got 3 different bass. Largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass. It's got a great population of walleye. Got some huge striped bass, got white bass, tremendous population of crappie. It's a fisherman's dream. We're going to concentrate on the bass today, and there's going to be a big change coming. Right now you see me dressed like this, but probably by the next time you see me, there is a huge cold front on the way, a late spring cold front. We'll talk some about how that impacts the bass fishing, and I think we're going to catch some anyway. While we're doing that, taking you around the region for your latest fishing reports for this week from our expert team of insider reporters with the fishing reports for this week from where you live. Right now, that Nitro Z20 gets launched out there in Bull Shoals Lake. Let's get started fishing. Let's get it started back at the FSN studios with your weekend planner.
The Salooner tables are indicating outstanding fishing if you're headed to the lake over the holiday weekend. Sunday's outlook is listed as excellent, and the game fish activity for Memorial Day is anticipated to be some of the best of the month. The sun will rise at 6:22 and set at 8:27. And we're approaching a full moon on Tuesday of next week, so evening skies should be fairly bright. We'll be right back with fishing updates from around the area. Plus, I'll return with your Ask the Pro question for this week. Stay with us.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than a boat, it's a tracker. Mercury Outboards, go boldly. Lowrance and the new Hook 2, the world's easiest fish finder. And Louisiana Travel. Plan your fishing trip at louisianatravel.com.
All right, there's a fat Bull Shoals largemouth for you right there. Look at that dude. And it is cold this morning. Had a late season cold front come through. Winds turned out of the north. There's fish. Wow. Up he comes. Largemouth. Or maybe a spot. That's a spotted bass. All right. No, what is that? That's a largemouth, just a real bright colored one. Well, there is a Bull Shoals bass for you right there. We are having to do a little adaptation today because we've had a big weather change here. Hey, this happens in fishing. The fish, according to the locals and the guide that I'm working with here, the fish have been active and shallow and biting jerk baits and fast moving baits, and all of a sudden we've had a late season cold front push through, dropped the water temperature a few degrees, winds turned out of the north, bright high skies, and the fish are going to position themselves in a different way in a different place, and we're going to talk about that today. But we've made it out on Bull Shoals. This is a real peculiar lake here on the Arkansas-Missouri border. There are all kinds of fish in this lake, as we mentioned at the very beginning. When you're fishing with spinning tackle, light line, and a little grub, that's a rally grub that I'm fishing with right now, you're eligible to catch anything. Crappie, white bass, a striper, walleye, all kinds of species swimming around in here. It's crystal clear water. And as you can see, the lake is mainly the White River that snakes right down the middle of the lake. It's got big ditches and arms and creeks coming in on both sides. And it is a fertile, fantastic fishery. We're going to talk some about that today. Mostly bass today, though. I hope to catch a few other species of fish, but it'll be just fine if we catch a bunch of bass just like that. Let's get back to fishing here and see what else I can find.
I sure hope you've been able to get out and fish Oklahoma over the past several days because it has been really, really good for a variety of species at many places across the state. Now, most of the bass fishermen have been targeting the bluegill spawning areas along the shoreline to catch some quality largemouth. That's what Timmy Williams and his dad did recently at Lake Conawa to catch a lot of quality fish, throwing Texas rig soft plastic worms. That's also exactly what Charles Jewell has been doing at Lake Murray to catch giants like this one. Charles has been throwing a small soft plastic jerkbait in and around those bluegill beds and catching a good number of fish, and like I said, a lot of really nice ones. Charles also said he can catch a lot of smallmouth at Murray right now, but they're relatively small, 12 to 14 inches, but good numbers and a lot of fun. Crappie fishing remains really good at several places across the state. Mike Taylor, Patrick Taylor, Mark Baldridge have been fishing with Adam Mason at Grand, catching a lot of nice quality crappie, throwing a Bobby Garland baby shad swimmer, casting and reeling it back in, targeting pea gravel banks and gravel bars about 6 foot of water. Catfishing is also good at Grand, and that's what Robert Patton and Mike Castee have been doing, fishing jug lines over 20 foot of water, catching a nice mix of blues and channel cats. Fishing's good in the state and you can catch them, but you sure can't catch them if you don't go.
There's one on my umbrella rig down there deep. Ooh, that's a good pull. That's a largemouth, good one. Oh, and he's got a bunch of umbrella rig in him. Come here. Come here and I'll turn you loose. There we go. How about that? Look at that toad right there. Don't get a hook in you. All right. There's a fat bull shoals largemouth for you right there. Look at that dude. That good? You like that? All right. We're gonna put you right back, buddy. No problem in that clear water. There you go. Current plays a huge role on bull shoals, especially when they're letting water out of the Taneycomo Dam and it's running down this White River. I want to show you this. If you look in front of the boat, that's a big steep bluff. That's the river channel side of the bank. So that current is running down that channel, pushing up against those bluffs. Then follow me, it's coming across the mouth of this bay and it's hitting that point on the right side of that bay. So what it's doing is it's making a little eddy, kind of a swirl there. It comes in here, hits that point, swirls around, and then goes on down the bluff further behind my boat. So what I'm doing is positioning myself up current, making big long casts with that umbrella rig, which is 5 of those rally grubs, letting it go down in that current, right through that little eddy, that little pocket where that water's swirling in there, and then a nice, slow, steady retrieve and make those grubs swim. They are eating, I guess, shad in here. With a belly on that little dude. Yeah. There's one. Got him. Little one. Little one. But a fat one. They are eating, I guess, shad in here. With a belly on that little dude. Yeah. Well, you get 5 baits like that, and to those fish, they must look like a little pack of shad swimming along, or herring, or whatever they feed on in this lake. See, there's 5 of them all in a grouping, and I've got different colors on there, slightly different shades. And when you pull it in the water, in fact, I'll pull it down here just to give you a look at what it looks like. See all 5 of them swimming along there, and it just looks like a little pack of shad swimming along. And boy, those fish, sometimes they just cannot resist it. Sometimes you catch 2 or 3 at once. All right, well, still got something working here. Keep casting. Let it go down. I'm not fishing it up on top. I'm letting it sink down about 15 feet and then just letting the momentum of the boat drift it along. This is a big bay back in here, and those fish go back in there and they'll spawn in these pockets and then come back out to the main lake. So you can catch them going and coming both. It's kind of a transition spot.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is once again brought to you by the good folks at Fiberworks. Whether you have small scratches or slight oxidization you'd like to have removed, or if you've suffered a catastrophic injury to your boat, Fiberworks can put you back on the water in no time. Now this week we're going to start in East Texas with one of my favorite kinds of fishing, that's topwaters. Caddo Lake near Uncertain, Texas has a great frog bite right now. You'll want to use either the solid plastic body frogs with the flappy legs or your hollow body frogs. Most importantly, throw those around the cypress knees. And those cypress trees that are closer to channels will tend to have more fish. Now at Texoma, the striper bite is going fantastic right now. You'll probably want to use a live bait. That's what most of the fish are being caught on. If you are willing to use the slabs, A-rigs, and 1 ounce jig heads with a sassy shad type body on them, you can also catch those big stripers on Texoma. That's been this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by Fiberworks Marine Collision. Be sure and check us out on Facebook, Lone Star Lakes, to find out more about what we're doing when we're not out here on the water.
Hi, I'm Captain Joey Ferry with your South Texas Regional Report. We're looking at a lot of summertime weather patterns coming in, and with consistent weather patterns comes consistent fishing. This week, beach access along the Port Aransas, North Padre Island, and South Padre Island jetty systems is unbelievable. Get down at the end of those jetties where the water's green with a silver spoon. You're gonna have lots of Spanish mackerel, some jackfish, maybe even a tarpon. In the middle of those jetties, that's where you're gonna find the speckled trout, drum, and redfish on both live shrimp under popping cork, and my favorite is a artificial shrimp. This is a DOA half-ounce shrimp. Float that right along those rocks with the tide. You're gonna have some good luck on speckled trout. And in Laguna Madre, I can't tell you how hot the trout bite is. Live croaker right now are stomping limits out every day. And down in Baffin, we're catching a lot of redfish up in skinny water at first and last light, and then they're moving out to about 4 feet of water over muddy bottoms and rocks. Our favorite lure down there in those real shallow areas is this 5.5 DOA jerk shad with a 1/16 jig head. Down south, I just got back from a dream trip. The snook are spawning in South Padre and Port Mansfield. Down there we have a Texas population of snook that's really come back in recent years. Follow all of our hookups on Facebook at Joey Ferry's Backwater Adventures, and I'll see you guys next week.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lou's. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland. We know bass and crappie from heads to tails. And by Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades.
There's a spotted bass. Tell by the lines down the side, different kind of pattern on him. Not a big one. Oh, that though. All right, welcome back everybody. We're still catching them on Bull Shoals today. That's been the average fish, about 2.5 pounds or so. Real fat, healthy looking fish. Let me give you a little information about Bull Shoals in case you'd like to come up here. I'm working with my friend Tim Sonato. He fishes for all species, but I'll give you some information about the times of the year. The first species to spawn every year are the walleye. They run up the river all the way to the Taneycomo Dam, and really in the last 8 or 10 miles of the river before you get to the dam, and that happens in February and March. After that, the largemouth bass, smallmouth bass spawn probably March, April, May, that time frame. The crappie are fantastic here. In fact, Tim just had a trip a couple of days ago. They caught 60 keeper crappie basically in one little creek. Striper fishing is good here, especially when they're releasing water. There's some big stripers in this lake. In fact, there was I want to say like a 65-pound striper caught out of this lake just last year or year before last. So that goes right on into the summertime. You can book Tim Sonato at the contact information we're giving you, and he'll bring you out here in a nitro kind of like mine. This is my brand new Nitro Z20. What a great fishing rig this is. I mean, it has got all the plush niceties of anything you could possibly imagine here. You can check out my walk around video on the how-to section of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, and you can see all the details of the Nitro Z Series boats, including the Z20 like I'm fishing out of today.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here with your Fox Sport Louisiana Outdoor Report. I tell you what, we're coming to you from Calcasieu Lake this week, right here in Cajun Paradise Lodge and Charters. Tell you what, Chris, why don't you tell everybody who we brought fishing today?
Brought my girlfriend, Megan, and my dad, Alan.
I tell you what, y'all had a good time, didn't we?
Oh, blast.
Tell you what, right here on Calcasieu Lake right now, it's a little windy today, so we mainly targeted redfish, but we got a nice limit of reds, caught most of them on live shrimp, fishing it kind of like Carolina rig. We didn't use a cork for those. We went trout fishing over some reefs in 3 to 5 foot of water, scattered oyster shell. We used a popping cork for that with live shrimp also. Got some other boats out today doing pretty much the same thing. Tell you what, right now, Calcasieu Lake starting to get into the early summertime pattern. Lots of redfish getting caught, and it won't be long. Be some great speckled trout action. I tell you what, you want to make a trip? Give us a call here at Cajun Paradise. For Old Cajun Phil's, Captain Kevin Broussard saying happy fishing. May God bless. We're going to see you next week.
Yeah, not much of a fish. Little spotted bass. All right. Well, we're still on bull shoals and we're still catching them today. We're catching a lot of these fish on places called channel swings. I don't know if you've ever heard of a channel swing or not. There's a spotted bass. Just tell by the lines down the side, different kind of pattern on him. Not a big one. Channel swings are places where the main part of the channel swings away from one shoreline, turns, and cuts across to the other shoreline. Those are real key areas on bull shoals because the current comes down one bank, turns and cuts across the middle of the lake, and the current hits that upslope where it turns across, and that just creates a perfect feeding spot for fish to lay up on that ledge and wait for that current to pull bait fish by. I'll show you what a channel swing looks like here, but you can see clearly on my map here, on my chart, that the channel swings away from that left bank, swings across the main part of the lake, and then basically hits the other shoreline. And on the down current side, which is this side right here, is where these fish will tend to stack up and tend to feed. Now, before we move along here, I want to show you a couple of quick shots from yesterday. And yesterday was a 1,000 times worse day than today as far as the weather goes. We had a 30-mile-an-hour north wind, overcast skies, cold front day. It was just a terrible day to fish, but as you can see, we did really well. Fished several of these channel swings, these little places where the main river channel cuts across from one shoreline to the other, fish the down current side. Those are the places that these fish would stack up. In fact, I found one spot where I basically either caught a fish or lost a fish on 9 consecutive casts. These fish school up here in these areas where they're feeding, where this current makes little eddies and pockets and comes up on these ledges. And once you find a place like that, you're likely to catch a bunch of fish in one spot. But as you can see, we did really, really well. Yesterday, I just had the GoPro camera out. We couldn't even get the main television camera out. The weather was just too bad. Waves were too big. It was a rough day, but a good day to catch a few fish anyway. Bull Shoals is a really good lake if you can find the little spots where the fish live.
You can always watch our latest episode on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Catch up on past episodes by clicking the archive button and learn about fishing techniques and new gear at our how-to page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for new fishing videos every day. Simply search for Fox Sports Outdoors and click the like button on Facebook and follow button on Twitter. And watch a new episode every week on any device by downloading the free Waypoint TV app on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide's new wireless and easy-to-use XI3. XI batteries, powering the world forward. Waypoint Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist. And Strike King, designed by the pros, fished by you.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro question, where you get a chance to gain insight from professional anglers. This week, Michael wants to know, is there an easy way to tell the difference between a pure striper and a hybrid striper? To get an answer, we asked Captain Terry Littlejohn of Tawakoni Guide Service.
When fishing a body of water that has true striper and hybrid striper in it, sometimes it can be difficult to tell the difference between the two. But the easiest way to tell the difference is to look at the horizontal lines on the fish. A hybrid striper's lines are broken, almost like a heart monitor. But a true striper's lines are solid from head to tail. I hope that helps.
Thanks, Terry. If you have a question to ask one of the pros, just visit our website, click on the Ask the Pro link, and let us know. Now let's find out who wins this week's Big Catch of the Week.
Hey everybody, it's time right now for this week's winner in the Big Catch of the Week contest. Somebody gets to have their photo on television for catching a big fish. Here's this week's winner. He's Brian Barber of Owasso, Oklahoma, showing a 210-pound striped blue marlin he caught at Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. If you would like to have a chance to have your photo shown on television, just send it to us. Go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Big Catch of the Week area on the right side of the homepage and follow the instructions to send in your picture. Here's some of the gear we used on this week's episode, beginning with my new favorite rod and reel combo, especially for throwing this umbrella or Alabama rig. This is the Lew's Team Lew's Custom Pro Speed Stick rod. It's a 7-foot, 11-inch rod, medium heavy, a lot of backbone for throwing this big heavy bait, and I've got it paired with the Team Lew's Hyper Mag reel. It's got all the nice stuff, including a very super low profile, fits perfectly in the palm of your hand, the wind grip handles, a couple of different ways to control backlash. It's got the speed keeper to hold your lure right in front of the reel, all the nice stuff in the Team Lew's Hyper Mag reel. As far as the baits we used, we did use an umbrella rig, and I had some little small 1/8 ounce lead jig heads with Jean LaRue Rally grubs on there in several different colors. And then I did also throw a Jean LaRue Rally grub on just a plain 3/16 ounce lead jig head. And then a go-to bait on Bull Shoals year-round, we caught some fish on it as well, is the Strike King KVD jerk bait. You can catch fish on Bull Shoals on that bait year-round, including walleye and all the bass species. For those of you who are married, how is your marriage? My wife and I will celebrate 40 years of being married to each other this year. And I've always said that being married is one of the most difficult things I've ever done for a long time. I can attribute a long, happy marriage to 3 different things. Number 1, having God is number 1 in our marriage. Number 2 is commitment, a commitment that says, I choose you for life and nothing will ever change my mind. And number 3 is selflessness. I will put your needs above mine. Being married for a long time is certainly a very difficult thing to do, but it's one of the greatest joys you'll ever experience in your entire life. I hope you enjoyed our trip today to the Ozark Mountains of northern Arkansas and southern Missouri to beautiful Bull Shoals Lake. Everybody ought to come here and fish at least once. You ought to contact Tim Sonato for a great guide trip fishing for several different species that swim here in Bull Shoals. I think you'll do yourself a big favor by coming here. I love this place. We will see you back here next week. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.